She still laughs at your jokes, she still asks about your day, but there's a delay between your words and her eyes, like she's there, but not with you. She nods, smiles, leans in just enough to keep the illusion alive. That's the part most men miss. Cheating doesn't start when she meets someone new. It starts when she stops returning to you mentally. What you're feeling isn't paranoia, it's subtraction. The warmth hasn't vanished, it's being redirected, and by the time you notice, she's already gone, just not physically yet. Number 1, the withdrawal phase. It never starts with betrayal. It starts with absence. Not the dramatic kind. No slammed doors, no long silences, just the slow fading of presence. Her replies shorten. Her laughter feels delayed, calculated. She's still affectionate, but the affection is mechanical, duty-shaped. The hugs last half a second shorter, the warmth evaporates before it reaches you. You tell yourself it's stress, exhaustion, hormones, anything but what it is. Because the truth would mean the woman sitting across from you is already halfway out the door. Every relationship runs on energy exchange. You give, she returns. It's the invisible current that makes the mundane feel alive. But when her energy redirects, you feel it first in the small things. The way she doesn't touch you in passing anymore, the way her body stiffens when you get too close. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Somewhere else, she's giving what she used to give you. Curiosity, playfulness, emotional attentiveness. You can't see the receiver yet, but you can feel the drain. Men often misread this state because it doesn't look hostile, in fact it looks peaceful. She becomes quieter, less reactive, less argumentative. You think the relationship is stabilizing, but what's really happening is disengagement. Her nervous system has detached from the shared rhythm that once defined us. You feel like you're talking through glass. She hears you, but nothing lands. That's the emotional withdrawal phase, and it's almost impossible to reverse once it begins. Her subconscious is already rewriting the narrative of your relationship. Where there used to be gratitude, she now edits memory, downplaying good moments, highlighting flaws. It's emotional rewriting, a psychological prelude to justification. When she eventually crosses the line, she won't see it as betrayal, she'll see it as inevitable. She's already begun collecting evidence to support that version of the story. The cruelest part is how gentle this destruction feels. There's no explosion, no warning, just stillness, the kind that hides decay. You'll feel it in her tone before her words, in her posture before her excuses, and by the time you notice, you won't be trying to save the relationship. You'll be trying to resurrect someone who's already emotionally gone. Number 2, the mirror shift. It begins quietly. She starts looking at herself a little longer before leaving the house. Not vanity, not pride, something else. There's an unfamiliar alertness in her reflection, like she's checking for someone else's gaze. You notice subtle changes, new perfume, different clothes, an edge of effort that doesn't seem meant for you. When you compliment her, she brushes it off too quickly, as if your approval has lost its currency. That's when you realize she's not trying to look beautiful, she's trying to feel visible again. Every mirror tells a psychological truth. When a woman's reflection becomes more important than your attention, it's not self-love, it's self-reinvention. She's rebuilding identity through aesthetics, using appearance as a form of escape. The energy once spent nurturing the relationship gets redirected into presentation. Each detail, a new shade of lipstick, a sudden interest in fitness, the quiet ritual of getting ready at odd hours, becomes a signal of transition. She's not preparing for an affair, she's preparing for permission. Men often mistake this transformation for renewal. They think she's regaining confidence, rediscovering herself. But confidence built in private rarely requires secrecy. This isn't confidence, it's calibration. She's adjusting to how she wants to be seen in a new environment, often before that environment even exists. It's emotional rehearsal disguised as self-improvement. The shift also changes how she perceives you. The man who once centered her reflection now becomes a background figure. When she looks in the mirror, she's no longer measuring beauty through your eyes. She's measuring desirability through hypothetical attention. Every glance at her own reflection is a silent question. Would someone else notice? And once that question enters the room, you've already lost something sacred, the exclusivity of her wanting to be seen only by you. Guilt hasn't appeared yet. That comes later. For now, there's only the thrill of possibility, the intoxicating hum of being desired again, even if only imagined. You might think this phase is harmless, but it's the psychological pivot point. Once she learns she can generate validation externally, internal commitment begins to decay. And she won't feel like she's betraying you, she'll feel like she's rediscovering herself. The tragedy isn't the mirror, it's what the mirror replaces. It becomes a new form of intimacy, one where you no longer exist. Every stolen glance, every moment of quiet admiration is time she used to give to you. By the time you realize this, it's too late to remind her who she once wanted to be seen by. Because now, her reflection has become her audience, and you've become a memory in the background of her frame. Number 3, the digital divide. It starts with a screen turned slightly away, a phone flipped face down, the subtle choreography of digital secrecy. Not overt lies, just small denials of access. She used to scroll beside you, laughing at messages, showing memes. Now her thumb hovers longer before she locks it. She smiles while reading something, but doesn't explain why. You ask who it was, and she answers casually, "No one." The words are harmless. The distance isn't. That's how modern betrayal begins. Not with a kiss, but with the quiet privatization of her attention. The phone becomes the new wall of intimacy. Once, it connected you, shared playlists, late-night texts, small love notes between days. Now it separates you. She's more animated online than she is in person. The woman who used to reach for your hand at dinner now reaches for her notifications. Her mind, once anchored in your presence, lives elsewhere, in digital rooms you can't enter. And what's worse, she no longer hides it out of guilt but out of ownership. It's her world now, and you're the guest. Psychologically, this isn't about cheating yet, it's about displacement. Every conversation she has with others siphons emotional bandwidth from you. Humans only have so much attention to give, and attention is the root of intimacy. When her dopamine comes from messages, likes, or digital validation, real connection starts to feel heavy. The screen rewards her instantly, endlessly, without confrontation. You, meanwhile, require patience, depth, imperfection. In that comparison, she begins to feel lighter online, duller at home. There's also the illusion of safety, because the messages seem harmless. No explicit flirtation, no confessions. It doesn't feel like betrayal. But emotional infidelity doesn't need evidence. It only needs redirection. The more she invests in digital attention, the less she invests in you. The neural pathways that once lit up when she saw your name now fire for someone else's text tone, and because it happens incrementally, she never notices the substitution. You sense it before you can prove it. The way her energy spikes when her phone vibrates, the soft half-smile she hides, the sudden password changes, justified by privacy but fueled by secrecy. You want to trust her, but trust without transparency isn't faith, it's blindness. And in the digital age, blindness is what infidelity depends on most. Men often confront too late, when they've already lost emotional access. The truth is, by the time you suspect, she's already found a second version of herself online. The version that's admired without responsibility, seen without effort, desired without demand. That digital self becomes the one she wants to live in. And once she does, you're no longer competing with another man, you're competing with her own projection. Number 4, the emotional projection. When guilt enters the picture, it rarely announces itself. It hides behind accusation. She begins to say things like, "You've been so distant lately," or "You just don't make me feel special anymore." The irony cuts deep because you've been trying harder than ever. More affection, more patience, more understanding. But she interprets your steadiness as absence. What's happening isn't confusion, it's projection. The distance she feels inside herself is being placed on you. It's easier to blame your supposed neglect than to confront the quiet betrayal forming within her. This is one of the oldest psychological defense mechanisms. When people can't reconcile their own dissonance, they externalize it. She doesn't yet see herself as disloyal. She sees herself as deprived. So she reframes the story to justify her growing attachment elsewhere. The logic is simple and devastating. If he truly loved me, I wouldn't feel this way. Her guilt transforms into moral permission. The other man isn't a temptation anymore. He's the proof she's been unloved. And once she accepts that story, no amount of reassurance can reach her. The projection stage often catches men completely off guard. They respond with empathy, trying to fix what isn't broken. They listen to the accusations, internalize the blame, and start adjusting themselves to meet her shifting expectations. But every apology only strengthens the narrative she's writing, that he failed first. In her mind, cheating becomes reaction, not choice. She's no longer betraying a relationship, she's escaping oppression. Watch her language during this phase. It changes subtly but completely. We becomes I. Shared history becomes emotional evidence. I've been unhappy for a long time appears out of nowhere, as if the years you lived together were prelude to her justification. This isn't manipulation, it's self-preservation through distortion. Guilt needs a villain to survive, and if she can't face herself, you'll become the antagonist of her redemption story. Men often mistake this shift as an opportunity to win her back. They double down on empathy, offer space, make promises to do better. But you can't reason with projection. You can't fix guilt that doesn't belong to you. Every attempt to prove your devotion only deepens her belief that she's right to pull away. The more you explain, the more she feels absolved. By this point, the emotional balance has inverted. She's calm, composed, almost self-righteous, while you spiral in confusion. The betrayal hasn't happened physically yet, but the justification is complete. She's rewritten the moral framework of your relationship, and in that revision, she's already free. What's left isn't honesty, it's narrative maintenance. And the hardest truth to accept is that you can't save someone who's already turned you into her excuse. Number 5. The social reframe. By now, the story isn't just hers, it's being reinforced by others. She begins surrounding herself with new voices, often women who echo the same narrative, that happiness is liberation, that commitment is suffocation, that she deserves more. They don't ask questions, they validate. Each conversation becomes an emotional mirror reflecting back the version of herself that justifies what she's already decided to do. The transformation is subtle but absolute. The woman who once defended the sanctity of loyalty now speaks the language of self-discovery. This is the social reframe, the collective permission slip. No one tells her to cheat outright, but they give her something far more powerful: moral anesthesia. They convince her that following her feelings is courage, not selfishness, that chasing excitement is healing, not harm. The logic sounds enlightened, but underneath it's emotional escapism dressed in empowerment. She's not leaving because she's oppressed, she's leaving because she can't face the weight of ordinary love. Men underestimate the influence of environment. Every "you deserve better" becomes an invisible wedge. Every social feed filled with curated lives, every podcast preaching liberation, every friend celebrating her glow-up feeds the illusion that commitment is a cage. Society rewards female restlessness with applause, not accountability. And once she internalizes that applause, she can betray without shame, because now betrayal looks like bravery. There's a point where her values invert completely. She begins to interpret your stability as stagnation, your consistency as control, your loyalty as limitation. The more reliable you are, the more she feels trapped by your predictability. What once made her feel safe now makes her feel invisible. Her friends, many of whom carry their own scars of regret, become the choir to her rebellion. They rewrite your marriage as her captivity, and every venting session becomes a rehearsal for departure. You'll notice the shift in how she describes herself. The sentences change from "we've been struggling" to "I've outgrown this." She's no longer seeking resolution, she's seeking redefinition. The relationship is no longer a partnership, it's become an identity crisis. The loyalty she once felt now feels like a burden to her self-concept. And when she looks at you, she no longer sees the man she loved. She sees the mirror reflecting everything she's trying to escape. This stage is dangerous because it feels unstoppable. You can't compete with collective validation. Logic doesn't work against emotional reinforcement. When a woman's environment rewards her discontent, truth becomes irrelevant. You're not fighting another man anymore. You're fighting a movement, a philosophy, a cultural current that glorifies freedom over fidelity. By the time she says, "I just need to find myself," she's already found someone, or something, to replace you. Not necessarily a lover, but a narrative, the myth of liberation without consequence. And once that myth takes hold, even her guilt feels justified, because now, in her mind, betrayal isn't sin, it's self-actualization. Number 6. The energy redistribution. Every relationship runs on an invisible economy, attention in, affection out. When that balance shifts, you can feel it before you can name it. She's not cruel, she's distracted. Her words are polite, her tone measured, but the current between you has thinned. What used to be instinctive, touching your arm while speaking, laughing without checking her phone, now feels rationed. It's not absence of love, it's redirection of energy. She's investing in another connection, even if it's only emotional for now, and what's left for you is residue. This redistribution rarely begins as a decision. It begins as a feeling. Someone new makes her feel seen in a way she hasn't felt in a long time. That emotional spark doesn't require physical betrayal, it just requires curiosity. And curiosity, when mixed with attention, becomes chemistry. She starts sharing fragments of herself, small confessions, personal frustrations, harmless jokes. But each exchange transfers intimacy. The things she used to tell you first now go elsewhere, and each conversation rewires her loyalty one message at a time. Energy is not abstract, it's behavioral. She stays up later, checks her phone more often, guards her privacy with new intensity. When she's with you, she's half present, orbiting another emotional center. The smile she gives you is softer, quieter, almost apologetic. That's the paradox. Guilt makes her more gentle, not distant. It's not affection, it's compensation. She's soothing her conscience by being kind to the man she's already emotionally replaced. For men, this stage is the most disorienting because it looks peaceful. There's no arguing, no obvious conflict, just subtle withdrawal wrapped in politeness. But that calm is transactional. It exists only because she's getting stimulation elsewhere. The relationship becomes a holding pattern, an emotional waiting room while she explores the new connection. Her love doesn't vanish all at once. It evaporates through repetition. Every text she hides, every thought she withholds, drains the system until only habit remains. Biologically, the process mirrors addiction. Novel attention floods her brain with dopamine. The high of being desired triggers the same pathways as romantic infatuation. Once that circuit activates, your familiar presence can't compete. Stability becomes boring. Predictability feels suffocating. Her mind begins craving the uncertainty of someone new, the unknown, the risk, the chase, and what she once called security now feels like sedation. By the time you sense it, her energy has already migrated. You'll feel it in her silence after you speak, in her quick dismissal of plans, in how she dresses differently when she's just going out with friends. You won't find proof, because proof isn't the point. What's dying isn't fidelity, it's fascination. You can't outlove a woman who's feeding her spirit elsewhere. You can only recognize that love without exclusivity is no longer intimacy, it's performance. Number 7. The calm before confession. Then one day, everything feels strangely easy again. The tension that hung between you like static is gone. She smiles more, touches your shoulder in passing, laughs at your jokes with that familiar softness. You think the worst is over, that the silence, the distance, the unease were just phases. But this new calm isn't peace, it's resignation. When guilt peaks and decisions solidify, the body relaxes. She's already crossed the line, whether in body or intent, and now she's living in acceptance of what she's done. What you feel as relief is her quiet closure. The emotional rhythm changes completely. She's no longer defensive, no longer critical. In fact, she seems understanding, patient, almost maternal. She lets you speak without interrupting, nods while you explain your worries, and reassures you that everything is fine. But what she's really doing is detaching with grace. This new tenderness is not reconciliation. It's farewell wrapped in kindness. She's comforting you through a goodbye you haven't yet heard. There's a reason this stage feels so confusing. The male nervous system is built to relax when external threat fades. So when she stops arguing, stops resisting, stops accusing, your brain interprets it as safety. But her silence isn't submission, it's emotional completion. She no longer needs to fight because she's already rewritten her story. You're no longer the villain, you're just a closed chapter. You'll notice she starts tying loose ends, organising things, spending more time with friends, showing sudden independence. She may even encourage you to focus on yourself more, to go out, to rest. These gestures feel nurturing, but they're actually transitions. The relationship is now in hospice, comfort care before departure. The affection she gives you is nostalgia disguised as love. It's not for your benefit, it's for her conscience. This phase often ends with one of two outcomes: confession or disappearance. If she confesses, it won't sound like betrayal, it will sound like philosophy. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just needed to feel alive again. If she leaves silently, she'll do so after ensuring you won't follow. Either way, the man is left stunned because everything seemed calm just before collapse. That's the final cruelty of emotional infidelity. It hides inside serenity. The truth is, by the time she confesses or vanishes, she's already mourned you. The tears she sheds aren't for the relationship, they're for the version of herself she can't return to. And you'll realize that the moment you stopped feeling the chaos, she stopped feeling the bond. The calm you trusted was never peace. It was the sound of her, walking away in silence. Most men think betrayal happens in an instant, a kiss, a message, a night gone wrong. But it never begins there. It begins with quiet dismissals, with withheld laughter, with affection that turns dutiful. It begins the moment she stops turning toward you after something beautiful happens. The signs were always there, but they were disguised as calm, politeness, fatigue. What destroys a relationship isn't deceit, it's detachment performed with grace. You can't stop someone from leaving when their identity depends on leaving. What you can do is learn the anatomy of distance before it becomes invisible. Every relationship holds its own expiration date, written not in time but in attention. You feel it before you can prove it. The pull of someone's mind turning elsewhere while their body remains beside you. If you ever find yourself in that silence, don't chase what's already dissolving. Don't fight for a ghost. The hardest truth is also the most freeing. Love that requires constant proof isn't love anymore. It's negotiation. When someone wants to leave, let them. Because peace doesn't return when she comes back. It returns when you stop trying to make her stay. The real betrayal isn't her cheating. It's the moment you stopped seeing yourself as worth staying for,